Good morning, everybody. This is Natasha, and welcome to my YouTube channel. We're going to go ahead and get started today. I wanted to show everybody that is new to Cricut how easy it is to get started. So you're going to first go to Cricut.com, and here is where you can shop Cricut tools. If you have a maker, this is where you could get all the special tools, pins, everything. And you can also sign up for Design Space Access Program, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So right up here in the corner, you can select shop or design, and we're going to go ahead and hit design. So while we're doing this, I'm going to go ahead and sign out, and this is what it will look like for you, because if you never used Cricut before, that means you need to start from the beginning. So you want to start with create a Cricut ID. And here's where you will input all your information, accept the terms, and do all of that good stuff. So we're going to go back because I already have an account. So we're going to select design again. We'll go ahead and sign in. And this is what your home screen will look like. You have a banner at the top that's going to show you any new products or sales that Cricut is having, any new images. You will find them all here at the top. The next section is labeled My Projects. So these are all the projects that you create and save. Then you have Cricut Access. So this is where that program comes into effect. So anytime you see a green label here or tag at the top with the A on it, that means if you pay a monthly subscription or if you pay for the whole year at one time, all these images in here are free to use. So anything with an A and you pay for Cricut Access, it's free to use. If it doesn't have an A on it, that means it could be some type of commercial image, and you will have to pay for that image if you would like to use it. The great thing is you only have to pay for it one time. You don't pay each time you want to use it in your project. So the next one is top video tutorials. So of course, we all know you can browse through here and look through videos that Cricut has put out. Then you have Be Inspired by Infusible Inks. So anything, if you're using the Infusible Inks, this section is for you right here. And you can just scroll through, check out new materials. And this is all the new materials that Cricut just released. All right. Endless possibilities with the new maker tools. So there are a lot of different sections here that you can browse through and look for the right project for you. So we're going to go ahead back to the top. And a way to start your first project is by selecting New Project. We're going to select the plus. And here is where you will create everything. Is what we call the canvas. This is where everything takes place. So at this point, I'm going to assume that you've already taken the machine out the box. You've plugged it in. And now you have already downloaded Cricut to your computer. And you're ready to make your first design. All right, y'all. So now we are ready to go over everything that is on our canvas. So we're going to start with the 3 lines here at the top. This is important because if you plan on doing any print and cut projects, you want to know how to make sure your machine is set up so it will cut correctly. And this is where you would go. So you have your home, your canvas, new machine setup, which you should have already went through those steps by selecting. Okay, so let me see. We'll just save this. So we're going to go to new machine setup. I just said save. And then you will select the machine that you have. Since I have a Maker, I went through the Maker setup. If you have the Cricut Explorer family, then that's the one you would pick. So we're going to go back to our project. Go back to the 3 lines here. This is where you would go to set up your print and cut. And it will put you through each section, whether if you have a rotary blade, knife blade, or print and cut. So you will select the print and cut and follow the steps with that process. Now you do have to have a printer. It doesn't matter if it's a laser or inkjet, just whatever printer you use it, you must have it, and it must be connected to your computer. Or iPad if you're using an iPad. But today, I don't know if I mentioned, but I'm using a MacBook Pro. So if you're using something other than that, it may look a little different, but everything is exactly the same process. So then you have manage custom materials, update your firmware, account details, link cartridges, which I'm sure this is probably about to be like extinct because I don't think they have cartridges anymore. Cricut Access, so if you do decide to pay into Cricut Access, you could go here, and then you have settings, which I have to remove the grid or the background because I do not like to see that grid, but if you do, you can make it a full grid, partial grid, and here you can change your units. And here in the US we use inches, so I needed to stay at inches. So we'll go ahead down, and the first stop we have new. So if you want to start a new project, make sure you save the one that you're working on, and then you can just hit new, and that will start a brand new project all over. Then you have templates. These is a great feature because it allows you to place your design on top of whatever you're making, so you can have an idea of placement and sizing. And there are a lot to choose from. Cards, party events, home decor, fashion, photo memories, kids crafts, and gear. So for example, we're going to go to fashion. And if I'm designing something for a shirt, shorts, belt, pants, flip-flop, hoodies, onesies, it's all here. And you would basically just select what is closest to your finished project. So for example, if I'm making a shirt, I will select this shirt, and it does tell you these are for reference only, so they will not be saved or printed or cut or anything. You can choose if it's a short sleeve shirt and the size. So let's say we're working with a large, and here, which it is a little fake, but you can select a color shirt. So if you're working with, let's say, a red shirt, it will turn the shirt red, and then you can easily just place your project on top of it and resize to the shirt here. Down here at the bottom, actually I see that it is a maternity shirt, so we're going to go ahead and turn the eyeball off because we're not going to use it. Projects. This is the place to be if you're looking for a make it now project, which basically means these projects are already put together. They already are sized and color coded and prepared for you only to just go in and hit make it. So if you're looking for a card or just a simple project that you want already completed and you like it, you just come in and you look through and then you can choose. So if you want to make this shirt here, key points, see if it has the A, meaning it is Cricut Access. So if you pay into Cricut, that means this is free to use. The title here, Monster Baby Bodysuit. You also have the share button. So if you wanted to share it on, let's see, Facebook or Pinterest, you could, or you could favorite. So it will add to your favorites. so that this project will be ready for you when you are prepared to create it. So you can just take some time to go through and favorite all the projects you think you would like to make and then come back to it at a later date. You would then select it. They will show you a preview. You can hit the arrows to look through the preview. And then here is what it will look like on the canvas. It tells you how many people favored it. It does tell you that it's easy. It should take less than 30 minutes. You can print the instructions. They have a description, finish size. So this is important to pay attention to. If you just hit make it, this is the size it's going to make it. So if you need it larger, you have to hit customize so that you can make it larger. More key points to pay attention to is materials to cut. And this is telling you that this is an infusible ink transfer sheet pattern, watercolor splash, everything else. So they tell you you need the green 12 by 12 mat, an easy press, 2, or any easy press or any machine that you can press images on will work. You don't have to have an easy press, but they're telling you you definitely need something to press the image onto your garment. A mat to use, they offer an easy press mat, a linen roller. So this is everything that you would need because you're using the infusible ink, and this is a new product, which it is available right now only through Michaels, and it does state right here through to October 1st. So if you're interested in doing an infusible ink project, then you definitely want to head over to Michaels and buy all the supplies you need because you are advised to only use their products with the infusible ink to get the best results. I have not tried these type of projects yet, so I do not have experience on the comparison, but they're telling you their products are the best to go with the infusible ink sheets. So we're going to go ahead and come out of here. And I'm just going to scroll up. We're going to go back to our canvas by hitting canvas up here in the corner. And we're going to, let's see. So that was projects, images. There are a lot of images here in Cricut. So the best way to explain what images are is think of it like a library. They explain that this is a library. This is where all Cricut access images are and commercial images can be found. So you can search by images, meaning just by everything, by using keywords. You can search the categories. So they give you free this week, most popular, recently added images, and it goes on and it shows you all the different categories that's available. All right, so let's keep going. So you have Mother Day items, household items, spiritual, religion, and it just goes on and on. So you can select each one. So let's go with baby. And this will show you everything baby related. So if you're working on a baby shower gift, baby shower, you want to make some party favors, you can go through here and pick what you like. And the next section is the cartridges. And these used to be the cartridges you would have to buy, the physical cartridge, and transfer them to your machine. But now they're all online. So here is where you can find any cartridge that's ever been created by Cricut. They're in this section. You can scroll through, or again, you can use the search box here. You could also filter through to find items even faster. So we're going to go back to text. Text is where you can add different text to your projects. I'm going to just type my name. Let's go ahead and scroll it some. And as you see, once I type my name, the We got a lot of options here at the top that will help us here. So I'm going to select my name. You can change the line type, whether it's going to be cut, draw, score, engrave, fill, whether it's going to be a print or no fill. You can select the squares to change the colors. You can also edit, cut, copy, arrange. This is all different options you can select. So as we start to design, we will go in and out to get an idea of how to use each one. The font, to change different fonts. And again, I don't want to miss here that the font also has an A. So if you see an A listed here next to it, that means you can use it without any additional charge. If you do not see an A, that means two things. One, it could be a downloaded font to your computer, which is free to use because it's just pulling from your computer. Or if you see no A but money, like this one, $4.99, that means you have to pay $4.99 to use this particular font. So Cricut fonts with an A are included in your subscription. If you don't see an A, you see number, it means you have to purchase it. But remember, once you purchase it, you have it for pretty much forever. You don't have to keep buying it over and over again. Okay. What else can we do? We can change the color here. Since it's a cut, I have it on a cut file, meaning it's going to cut out each individual letter. You can pick the color closest to the paper that you're going to use, and it also is going to create the color for your mat so that it reminds you that if you're cutting green, then the mat is going to be green only on the screen. It's just a way for them to separate how you're going to manage your cut style, and you'll see once I show it to you. And it make more sense. You can select style, so regular, or write. Write means that you're going to get the Cricut machine to write it with a Cricut pen or with other pencil or pen that you're going to use. And it's going to make it look like a handwriting with the pen. That's freaking awesome. Or regular, meaning it's just going to cut it with the bleed. So if I select writing, it's going to give me a writing style. So you see how thin it is? Because it's going to mimic how a pen would write my name on a piece of paper. Excuse me. Then the font size, letter spacing. So obviously I can make my letters closer, which this part is very important when you are using script fonts, because you don't want your letters separated. You want them to connect like if you're writing in cursive. And this is the option you would use here is letter spacing. So if I could find a font fairly quickly, like this one here, see how they're not connected? I don't want that. When I want this to write on my card, or if you're using the infusible inks, you will want them to connect to each other. Now this can get a little tedious. I don't want to get too much into it because you will have to ungroup your letters and pretty much take your letters and move them over until they are touching. And I'm just using my keyboard arrows to make everything become closer. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see exactly what I'm referring to. So when this goes to right, it's going to look like one continuous flow, which is really going to be beautiful for for a card or for something for a wedding. And that's the idea with that. So we're going to go ahead and hit the back button here, which we all will become very familiar with the back arrow as we design. So when we make mistakes, we need to go back to undo what we did. So if you ever hit a button and not sure what it did, just select the back button until you are back to the spot you want to be in. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Shapes, clearly this is the shape section and the score line. So if you are, for example, designing a card and you want to, oh, that's way too big. You want to put a score line in the middle, then you would go to shape, select the shape of your card, and then the score line. And you can use these points here to to place your score line where you need it. And you can go ahead and stretch it out. And to select both, because you want to make sure it's in the middle, you would then take because I'm using a Mac, I have the left click. You may have to right click if you're using something else. And draw this box out. And this will select everything on your screen or anything that you want to select. So once I do that, I'm going to let it go. It's going to snap into place. And then you have these options up here. So you can align it horizontal, to the left, to the top, center, vertical, and then there's another center right there. And then obviously you can distribute horizontal or vertically. Select all again. And that brings us to our layers panel. And the layers panel is very important because you will find yourself over here all the time. We have different options. We have group, which would take 2 or more objects and group them together. So when you need to resize it, you can do so to keep everything proportioned correctly. So if I select, so as you see here, I can select both of these and I can hit group. And now I can resize my square and my score line together. And you can also know it's group because it says group here. And it tells you within this group, you have a line, which is a score line, and a square, which is set to cut. So everything happens in the layers panel. See, it says layers, then it says color sync. That's something different. So for group, because we grouped it, it tells us everything in the group. We have this little eye here that can turn it on and off. It does not delete it. It just turns it on and off so that you can work on another part of your project. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and ungroup it. But we're going to select it. And then we're going to, you can duplicate it. It will give you the same exact shape. You can delete it as long as it's selected. And you know it's selected because you have these 4 points here. And it also has like a bluish color. So we could go ahead and delete if we want to. You can also select options down here at the bottom if you have more than one object. So we have, going to change the color to make it easier to see here. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the score line because we don't need it. I'm going to select arrange, and that's going to bring it to the front, meaning bring it in front of an object. Or if you want it to the back, meaning behind it, you can just send it to the back. So we're going to go ahead and send it to the front. Now, if I select both of them, now we have these options here at the bottom, which is slice. So we're going to go ahead and hit slice. Slice has now given us 4 layers on the layers panel. And I'm going to move each one over. That's one layer. Here's another one, another one, and another one. So basically, it's like cutting the puzzle pieces when you use the slice tool. And you can only slice 2 layers at one time. So if I tried to take one black layer, this other white layer, and another black layer, and try to slice it, it will not give me that option because those are 3 layers. It will only allow you to do 2 at a time. So if I select these 2, you see I now have the slice option again. I can select it. Now we have what? Another one. Now we have more slice. And this comes in handy when you want to work on off the mat projects. That is basically images that are way bigger than our cutting mat. But if we slice them down, we can then cut them like a puzzle piece and then put them together once we are finished cutting. So the next option is weld. Weld is exactly what it is. If you want to permanently stick two images or two or more images or layers back together in a shape that you want it, permanently. Remember, once you weld, you cannot undo it. It will not be undone. It is permanent. So if I want to take 1, 2, 3 shapes and weld them to now make a new shape. Let me take this one. Turn the eyeball off. And this is where the eye comes in it comes in handy. And I'm going to select those 3 shapes and I'm going to hit weld. And now I have a new shape. So we all know to create new items, you're just using shapes. And it's if you want to create something unique, the weld button does come in great handy. Just keep in mind that once you weld it together, you cannot unweld it unless you hit the back button. And it's going to undo anything that you do as you go back. See, there you go. Now they're not together because I used the back button. And the other option is called flatten. Flatten works with the print and cut option. So right now, these layers are set to cut, because if you look on your layers panel, you see that it says cut. And if you don't want to cut it and you want to print them out on your printer and then cut around the image, like around, nothing on the inside, just the outside of your image, then you have to flatten. So I'm going to select all of my layers here, and I'm going to select flatten. And that's what it does. This is probably not the best example because you can't really see it. So we're going to go to images and we're going to select the first one. Okay, we're going to select the first one. Right now, this little buggy is set to, we're going to hit ungroup to cut. So you would have 3 different layers. So this would be 3 sheets of cardstock, 3 different cardstocks, or 3 different color vinyls if you're going to cut it out of vinyl. But if you don't want to cut this, let's say you want to make it a sticker. So we would pretty much put it back together like that. Select all of the image, and then we will hit flatten. And now it has become one flat image, meaning as you see it here at the top, it does say flatten. When I go to make this, it's going to cut just around the outside, which is, other words, a fussy cut or make it a die cut. That's the procedure it's going to do when you do the flatten. Flatten is only for print and cut. If it says flatten, that means it's going to print it and cut it with the machine. All right, and one more super fun option to do is contour. A lot of people don't understand how to use contour, but I'm going to show you a very easy way on how to use contour. We're going to go back to our little buggy. I'm going to ungroup, and I'm only going to select this portion of our bug. And as you see, it's selected. I'm going to hit contour. And if I select this portion of the bug, see how it doesn't have any other holes? It's just one complete solid image. So you can't contour that. Contour is to get rid of details in the design. That's the best way I could come up with it. So I'm going to hit contour. Each one of these, oh, that's very close. So let's back up so we can see what we're working with. If I want to remove these little details in the middle, I can, either by selecting it or selecting it over here to determine which images I want to keep and which ones I want to take away. So I just selected random ones, and then I'm going to hit the X. And as you see, those are the only ones I believe that it kept, because I got rid of the larger one. I don't want to do that. So I reselected the larger image, but everything that I selected in the middle disappeared. And this comes in handy when you want to really customize a design that's already available, but it has pieces that you don't necessarily want. Or you can just hit hide all contour, which is everything in the middle. And there you go. You can have that. And that's how it will look. And the final thing is our upload button. You press upload, and this is how you can import images from your computer or from Google or someplace that you have an image saved. These are the only file types that it will accept. You can drag and drop your file here. So as long as it's a PNG, JPEG, all of these, you can select it from another program and drop it right here, and it will bring it in. Bring it into your design space. So we're going to hit cancel, and now we're back at our canvas. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, please leave them below, and please stay tuned for our next project, which is let's do our first Cricut project together. Thank you so much for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your day.